means being able to solve problems. The websites were illustrating how you can solve problems. The fourth one we've got there is making it much more realistic that we've got there. And so the teacher is able to get it to be realistic to the students by getting them involved. The website, another example. And the last one there is one perhaps that I would dwell on a little bit more, is when we teach science, can we make it part of our everyday life? Does it involve? And that is the fifth strategy within this project. Next one. Next one. Or go through them all. All those there. Okay. Why? Why do I want all of this? Here is what the European Commission, people in charge of the education in the European Union, have to say. Here is what it's suggesting that we should be doing in schools. And these they call competencies. So never mind information, it's the competencies that we're after. Why? Well, one, so you can go to university. Not enough. Not everybody goes to university. A second one is employability. Are you ready to be employed by somebody? So what skills, what is it you need to be able to be employed? And we can look through some of these, particularly the last three, to see how that operates. Still not enough, because thirdly, somehow we've got to act within the community. We've got to interact with other people. And so we need skills associated with that also. So competencies in three areas, and here they are. We've already seen the third one coming through, which I call ICT. Well, ICT, information and communication technology, is the third one. What is interesting here, and this project is trying to suggest, is all of these are part of the teaching of science. All of them, including the second one. So here is where the English comes in, because in science there is much English terminology, and so we can interrelate to that. Next slide, I think. Don't want the next one. Don't want the one after that either. Keep going. And so here is a picture that science teaching, all science subjects, are beginning to change. No longer only on the content, but what is science? What actually is that science? What is it? Also, what is it that you need as a person? And also, what is it you need as members of society? All of this now is part of the teaching of science, the teaching of engineering, the teaching of all subjects related to that in school. Next slide. And again. And again. And again. So, motivation, therefore, becomes very important in developing all these things. I won't dwell on that one either. Next one, and again. Next one, next one, next one, next one. There. So, can we make the teaching motivational? Here is a title of a teaching topic. It happens to be biology, this particular one. And it happens to be for grade 8 students in grade 8. And if I've got the title correct, it's Why High Altitude Teaching. Sorry, why high altitude training is useful. Do you know the answer? Why do athletes go for high altitude training? Why do they? Has anybody got an answer?
For the oxygen, they suggest.
Huh?
Oxygen on the.
Why they do this? Now, the question is that title motivational? Are you interested in that title? Is it interesting? So, the first thing to try and do is to try and give something that is interesting to learn about. And is this relevant? Is it relevant to you? Why high altitude training for anything to do with athletics, football, any form of sport? Why high altitude training? Relevant? It can lead to the learning of biology. It's interesting. But now, let me contrast that. Let's go back one, can we? No, too far. There was two pictures. That one, yes. Yes, that one. So how about this title? Can you show the next slide? That's it. So here was the title before, and now go back one to the other one. No, back one. That one. Here is a different title. How about this title compared with the other title? So, two titles. One, why should we? Why high altitude training? Here, the title now is, should we use high altitude training? The first one, the problem. The second one I'm showing here is now in English an issue. It is not answering the problem, it is also asking you whether it is something that should be done. You're trying to make a decision. And here is the difference when you're coming to a project here. Not solve the problem, that's not enough. We now got to should. Should it be allowed? Is it an unfair advantage for athletes to have high altitude training? So, here are two different types of approaches to the teaching of science. 1. Create the website. 2. Should you create the website? 1 involves the problem, the other one involves the problem and takes it into society to decide whether it is part of the actual society. And this is the attempt by this project to make science teaching more motivational.